Yo, welcome to Hard Pass. I am your host, Jacques Slade. It's the show that's not afraid to show you what our top song for 2020 was on Spotify. And that's reason number 9,418 to move to Japan, a 2015 song that's made to sound like something that would play in a nightclub in Kamurocho in the 80s, but could also work in the 70s. All right, let's start with some hot takes. Drake and Nike are launching a sub-brand called Nocta, which is supposed to be short for the artist's nocturnal creative process. In other words, Drake is making gear for those of us creatives who do their best work in the middle of the night. So my hope for this project is to include like mad comfortable Nike Tech Fleece pajamas, OVO bunny slippers, and a coffee mug with Drake smiling back at me inspired me to edit this video at 3 a.m. Yeah, let's go, baby. Complex Land is going down this week and it promises to be an open world virtual shopping experience. So am I going to be able to customize my avatar with Supreme Box logo hoodies and off-white dunks when I walk around this virtual swap meet or not? On the one hand, I'm glad that Complex is trying something different to replace the atmosphere that ComplexCon used to deliver. On the other hand, I'm bummed there's no outlet for the hype beast to congregate like this outside of crying on Twitter about the L's they took on sneakers. But I think the one thing we can all agree on is that thank goodness that giant mattress monstrosity that people would just lie on with no regard for hygiene will never be seen again, even when ComplexCon does come back. That might as well have a giant warning coronavirus sign next to it. Metal monoliths are all the rage right now, and these mysterious objects have started popping up. The first ones discovered were in the Utah desert and Romania, and now another one was found in a California park. Those pieces have since disappeared, and people are wondering what's going on. Personally, this is all a big conspiracy by Microsoft. That's right. I'm talking about Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. There were giant obelisks being discovered in the game and people were clowning them for those glitches. And my theory is that Microsoft has been planning these metal objects and uploading them into the game so people will be like, so there is a big metal thing there in Utah. This isn't some screw up. I'm onto your games, Microsoft. You ain't fooling nobody. And thank the rest of you guys for checking out my TED Talk. Big congratulations to Kenny Omega for winning the AEW World Championship this past Wednesday on Dynamite. Omega would beat Johnny Moxley thanks to shenanigans and now plans to take the world title to a different promotion called Impact Wrestling, which some of you might remember back in the days as TNA. And now we could be getting the poor man's version of the invasion angle that the WWE botched in the early 2000s, with the possibility that this storyline could even involve AAA, New Japan, and Ring of Honor. Didn't think we could have had a more convoluted bit after that whole flight simulator thing, and yet, here we are. And another congratulations are in order, this time to JaVale McGee, who was nominated for a Grammy for helping produce Justin Bieber's latest album. Okay, are we really just going for the weirdest episode this week, guys? What's happening? Super Nintendo Land is set to open this coming Friday, and I am pumped. I've got my Shishiko Kairis ready to go and nothing's going to stop me, except for a global pandemic that is still out of hand here in America. Wear your mask, people. Look, the sooner we, yes, we, as in America, get our act together, the sooner you see me hanging out with Princess Peach at a merch stand wearing my Mario 64 Puma RS Dreamers. And who doesn't want to see that? I want to see that. So last week, we got a potential Super Bowl preview between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, before you Steelers fans get all up in the mentions and hollering that your team is undefeated and whatnot, know this, I'm a 49ers fan and I'm way out of my range here. I'm a casual football fan who listens to the occasional podcast during my morning run just to catch up on what's going on with the league. Shout out to Mina Kimes and her dog Lenny. So when I hear that Patrick Mahomes is going up against Tom Brady, that's way more interesting than a Steelers team that played a Lamar Jackson-less Ravens team on a Wednesday afternoon. Seriously, that was weird, NFL. It's like when the NBA first came back during the bubble season and there were games being played at noon Pacific time on a Tuesday. Maybe do better with your COVID protocols, just saying. Anyways, the Chiefs beat the Bucs by a mere 3 points, but anybody who saw the game would tell you that it wasn't that close. Personally, I didn't watch the game, so once again, thanks for the info, Mina. But what I did catch were highlights, and Mahomes shined with a stat line of 37 to 49 passes for 462 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's like me playing a quick game of Madden with the sliders turned down to like Al Bundy in high school difficulty. Like, Mahomes doesn't even look like he's giving it max effort half the time on his deep balls. It's that easy for him. Yes, it helps that he has targets like Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, so combine those together and you've got a record-breaking offense that's never out of any game. And trust me, I know, I watched the last Super Bowl between the Chiefs and my Niners. Even when we were up by 10 in the fourth, I didn't feel safe with Mahomes under center on the other side. Bless your heart, Jimmy G, but you're not Pat Mahomes. Nobody is. Anyways, calling Patrick Mahomes the GOAT in waiting is not a new scalding hot take. Many people have already called him the most talented quarterback since Aaron Rodgers. That's not the same as Brady's position as the best and most successful, but give Mahomes time and enough years where he and his team are healthy, and I think he's right there. So what the hell is Adidas doing? Where is the signature trainer? Where are the flashy cleats? Where is the problematic Kanye collab? At least something. We already know he's a big sneaker guy thanks to a dope closet video he did with his wife that has nearly 8 million views on YouTube. He's got all of the Pharrells, the Game of Thrones Ultra Boost, the exclusive NMDs, and the pairs he calls his babies, the triple black Yeezy 750s. But where are the Adidas Mahomes? Not sure that rolls off the tongue at the moment, but wow, it feels like the three stripes are behind the curve on this one. There's the Speed Factory AM4 kicks that celebrate his MVP win, but I need more because it's undeniable at this point. Pat Mahomes is a once-in-a-generation type of athlete in the most beloved sport in America. He's got commercials for shampoo, sunglasses, video games, insurance, headphones, and more. His ownership stakes in a growing sports nutrition brand, not to mention the Kansas City Royals, are signs that he considers himself less a business and more of a business. I'm not gonna say it. You guys already know the line. His support for the Black Lives Matter movement and the lack of pushback from that stance is both surprising and not surprising at the same time. As long as he's breaking records and winning Super Bowls, those fans who would normally just be like, shut up and throw, are real quiet, huh? Anyways, where you at, Adidas? When they had a young Kobe Bryant, he had a signature shoe by his second season. Donovan Mitchell got a signature shoe by his third year. Kanye and Pharrell have entire sub-brands dedicated to them. Pusha T and Jonah Hill collabs are dropping at a regular rate, so what's the holdup? This is year 4 already for Mahomes, 3 as a full-time starter. I'm not gonna get on a, well, if this was Nike, this is what they would have done tangent, because it took them several years to get Giannis Antetokounmpo a signature shoe, while Zion Williamson could be getting one in a few months. Everybody's different. And I also understand that American football doesn't carry over to a worldwide audience like basketball does. I guess I could look at Mahomes through the same lens as his Adidas brethren Lionel Messi, a superstar from the other sport that's also called football. Like they're both football. Look, Messi is a global icon with a fan base that spans multiple continents and has a social media following that is only rivaled by other soccer stars Cristiano Ronaldo and Neymar. And yet, neither Ronaldo nor Messi have signature shoes. They wear special player exclusive versions of their respective brands' top-of-the-line boots, but it's not the same. Neymar was a top guy at Jordan brand and even dropped a special edition Air Jordan 5 low with his number, but he never quite got to having a shoe of his own. We'll see what the future has in store with him now that he's with Puma, but that's for another time. Back to Mahomes. I guess it comes down to the reality that brands just don't see the value in really building a brand for their top football guys on either side. I mean, Nike had Jerry Rice, Barry Sanders, Steve Young, and Dan Marino, all in their primes, and none of them got signature shoes. Most recently, they tried with Calvin Johnson, but Megatron's problems was that he played for the Lions, and I don't think even the matrix of leadership could solve that mess. And then there's Odell Beckham's lifestyle Air Maxes, but they don't get the push that you would expect of a player of his caliber to get. Maybe Adidas is hesitant with Mahomes because they had another talented quarterback who they thought was going to be the future in Robert Griffin III until an unfortunate injury derailed those plans. Look, RG3 even had 3 stripes in his names. It was perfect. Or maybe Adidas is ready to go and will push Mahomes the same way they turned James Harden into the face of the brand once we get back to some form of normalcy. Like, when we can get the fans back into stadiums and sneakerheads into lines outside of the stores. I just don't see the point in waiting though, I guess. But I want to know what you guys think. Leave a comment below and let me know if Patrick Mahomes can be the face and the voice of Adidas. Oh God. And now for a prepared statement from my co-writer who can't get over this email he got. You damn right you got a prepared statement from your co-writer. First of all, Jacques, you need to have a little more enthusiasm when you throw to me. Now for the real reason that any of you are even watching this show. Hey, StockX, how you doing? Oh, golf is the new wave, huh? You probably got all these hype beasts buying and selling those Jordan golf shoes and thought you can just jump on the bandwagon, huh? Well, let me tell you something. We fool. Golf is not the new wave. It's been the wave. And you think you could just come in here and take our shine? No, sir. That's not right. Jacques and I are co-captains of this train, and you ain't stopping us. We got everybody in this train. Me, Jacques, Brooke, Rory, Tiger, Ricky, JT, TJ, Paula, Larry, Bobby, Ricky, Mike. It's only a matter of time before we get one of the Kardashians, and maybe even Kanye. Choo-choo, y'all. Choo-choo. Come here, talk about golf is the new wave. Man, you better back to Jacques. Welcome to the Heat Check. This is where we bring you everything that's dropping this week. First up, we have the J Balvin and Air Jordan 1. These drop on the 8th for $190. The Global Music Superstars collab is finally releasing after debuting in the Super Bowl earlier this year, or earlier this decade, or was it this century? I don't know. It's been a long time. Anyway, honestly, I remember that halftime show more for J-Lo and Shakira, but I think most people will understand. It's fine. Man, those two could kill on a Jordan collab though. We have the Nike Dunk High Varsity Maze. These are on the 9th for $120. Honestly, you probably have a better chance of surviving 36 chambers than getting a pair of these on sneakers, but it can't hurt to try. Just don't be surprised when a bunch of tutorial videos on how to add the Wu-Tang logo pops up over the next few days. We have the Adidas Ultra Boost Mid Pat Mahomes. These are on the 9th for $180. Yeah, this is not what I had in mind, Adidas. Nice of you to pay homage to his high school and all, but I want the three stripes to think bigger for my guy, Pat. We have the Adidas Ultra Boost 2.0 DNA Juju Smith-Schuster. These are on the 9th for $180. Long Beach Stand Up. This pair takes us back to Juju's high school days when he was a star for Long Beach Poly, the home to greats like Snoop Dogg, Nate Dogg, and Cameron Diaz. That must have been a fun homeroom. Then we have the Prada Adidas Luna Rosa 21. These are on the 9th for $695. Yeah, that Prada branding is doing a lot of the heavy lifting here to justify that price point. Personally, I think I have to agree with my co-writer and say that these look like the old Nintendo Wii remotes with a silicone cover that they were giving out because people didn't know how to act right and use the strap. Those were simpler times. Then we have the Nike Air Raid Urban Jungle Gym. These are on the 10th for $140. So the OG from 1993 makes a comeback after 2014 was not very nice to it. Looks like Nike went back to the archives for this one as they tried to get the correct shade of gray for this one. We have the Nike Air Total Max Uptempo. These are on December 10th for $170. Here we've got another 90s classic, this time a Nike basketball staple worn by Reggie Miller and other guys who were good but not good enough to get a signature shoe. Wow. Shots fired there. Anyways, while I appreciate this black and Volt pair, I'm hoping we get the white and blue retro in the near future as well. 90s up-tempos were always secretly some of the best shoes Nike dropped in that era. Adidas Yeezy Boost 380 LMNTE Reflective. These are on the 10th for $230. According to Wikipedia, limonite is an iron ore consisting of a mixture of hydrated iron, oxide, hydroxides in varying composition, and one is the three principal iron ores, the other being future Yeezy colorways, hematite and magnetite, and has been mined for the production of iron since at least 2500 BC. I don't know what any of that means. The Adidas Yeezy Boost 380 Highlight Glow. These are on the 11th for $230. Also available in kid sizes. Highlight is the only inland municipality in Highland County in southwest Sweden. It was created in 1952 through the amalgamation of three major units in Jönköping County in 1974. Further amalgamations took place and the county boundary was redrawn. We have the New Balance Kawhi Snowman. These are on the 11th for $150. This winter themed pair features a new graphic of a bear grabbing a basketball. Kind of looks like the Memphis Grizzlies logo. Anyways, look for Kawhi to rock these on Christmas evening against the Nuggets, assuming he doesn't load manage that night. Air Jordan 35 Sisterhood. These are on the 11th for $180. After an Air Jordan 1 mid that came out a few weeks ago that was eye-popping for its stitching, this take on the 35 opts for a more subtle approach with the blue hits found on the laces, heel tab, and eclipse plate all atop a gum sole. Then we have the Nike KD 13 tie-dye on the 12th for $150. Based on this year's Brooklyn Nets retro jersey that goes back to the Nets tie-dye era, there will also be a Kyrie 3 low and a Nike Blazer 77 mid that takes on a similar style. Then we have the Air Jordan 11 Jubilee. These are on the 12th for $220. If you missed on the previous shock drops, this is your best chance to get the holiday 11s now. With resale not really climbing that high, that could be a sign of plenty of pairs being made, or this is all just a cruel joke by the sneaker gods to make you believe. We have the Under Armour Curry 8 on December 12th. The Curry brand era begins with this white and gold pair that has been the subject of a lot of talk on sneaker Twitter lately. As is the case with most Currys, it's not always positive, but I bet if you put a swoosh on these, a lot of people would be changing their minds. But more on the Currys a little bit later in the show. We also have the Dime Reebok Kamikaze 2 Low. These are on the 12th for $120. Hey, I thought Reebok was changing the Kamikaze name. Anyway, this collaboration with Montreal boutique store Dime has some Seattle energy to it, but it's not necessarily for the Sonics in this case. It's closer to the Seattle Seahawks more than anything else, which is cool because Sean Kipp's legacy really grew in the Emerald City. And then our pick of the week is the SNS Adidas Ultra 4D 5.0 Tea Time. These are on the 11th for $250. This mashup of the Ultra Boost and 4D cushioning also serves as a sequel to an underrated OG Ultra Boost collab, the SNS Tea Time. This time, the white upper is replaced with a green tea hue that looks warm and inviting like actual tea. And now for a heat check on the Curry brand. While we ponder about the waiting game between Adidas and Patrick Mahomes, it looks like we are full steam ahead with the creation of the Curry brand, the evolution of Steph Curry's relationship with Under Armour. With a new logo in place and a new signature shoe that bears that new symbol, Steph is ready to move out of the shadow of the UA name and prepared to build a legacy on his own. Through grassroots organizations like building basketball courts for kids in Oakland, providing gear and opportunities for the underprivileged, expanding the categories to include such as running and investing in oft-forgotten programs like the golf team for Howard University. This is the slow burn approach that Steph hopes will translate into a better and more inclusive society that just so happens to be wearing this stuff. Kidding aside, I love the approach. Not everybody can be Michael Jordan and create a Jordan brand that has a long and rich history in the game. I mean, I'm old enough to remember when it was just called Brand Jordan and they had Laker legends Eddie Jones in their commercials. Yeah, I said Laker legend. You were everybody's favorite before Kobe, Eddie, and we still love you to this day. Anyways, what I'm saying is that even Jordan brand had to go through some growing pains too. And I imagine the Curry brand will deal with that as well. Like, for example, even though it is Steph's brand per se with the fancy new logo, which I have to say is the most interesting new logo I've seen since the Derrick Rose logo from the early 2010s, there is still Under Armour branding on the new gear. It's more subtle placement for sure, but you can still see it, and I get it. Kind of. Like, introducing a new brand with a new logo is a lot different than starting something new with a logo as well known as the Jumpman. Jordan brand could get away without having Nike branding anywhere that's visible on the outside. Maybe Under Armour thinks otherwise, at least for now. Personally, I think the sooner we see Curry branded kicks without the UA logo, the better. It will allow Steph to truly step out on his own. But until then, I'll give the Curry brand a promising 9 Steph half-court shots out of 13 Air Jordan trainers. Remember those? All right, it's time for this week's Hard Pass, where we took a look at something in the culture that just needs to go, like limiting the Air Jordan 4 Manila to only 150 pairs. So, as some of you might have noticed on this show, there's quite a few references to the Philippines and to Filipino culture. That's because growing up in California, you're just as likely to see a Jollibee as you are to see a Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. Seafood cities and red ribbons are peppered throughout the greater LA area, and it's part of the culture. Well, that and my co-writer, the real one, is Filipino and loves to throw in those Easter eggs. And as somebody who visited the country a few years ago, I can say that there aren't a lot of places in the world that love the game of basketball like the Philippines. There's a hoop and a ball just about anywhere you go. And unlike here in the States where you got kids who can barely play but will step on the court just to show off their latest pickup, as long as you can hoop there, it doesn't matter what you got on your feet. And while they love their local ballers from high school to college to the PBA, they have a reverence for the NBA's best. Like when stars come out to visit Manila to promote whatever they need to promote, the people come out just to catch a glimpse of these guys that we sometimes take for granted here in the States. So I can only imagine the hype for the Air Jordan 4 Manila, which is green for some reason. Okay? Look, I'll be honest, I didn't really think about what the influence was behind the shoes when I first saw them. I only knew that the hype for them was going to be huge since it's the first official Philippines-based colorway. But my co-writer was not a fan of the green, saying that nobody knows or cares about the Manila flag and the Philippines flag has a much better color palette. But what we both agree on is that it's a little crazy that this pair is limited to only 150. I get that the Manila 4s are supposed to commemorate the opening of the Jordan Manila store, which is a big deal because it's the first of its kind in Southeast Asia. So in order to entice the fans, they needed a marquee attraction. But apparently there were also off-white J's available based on pictures I've seen from the launch. They could have done an advanced release of the Air Jordan 11 Jubilee and still garnered a ton of hype. But instead, they made people who got the shoes wear them on the way out, which has a lot of store owners crushing SB boxes before you can buy Dunks energy. They wouldn't have had to do this if this was a general release like the Japanese version of the Air Jordan 3 Denim Fire Red that came out a few months ago. you still get people interested in the store, and at the same time, more Pinoy sneakerheads are able to get a pair of the first J's ever made specifically for the Philippines. They could have saved the limited nature for another Philippines-inspired pair, but the first time should have been for the people. Well, for the people who can afford 10,000 pesos, I guess. But don't worry, I'm sure a 1,000 peso version will pop up at Green Hills soon enough, and if you're good, you can probably haggle the price down to like 700 to 800, and also pick up the super rare Cactus Jack 1s in baby blue. Maybe if they had called these the Air Jordan 4 Green Hills, my co-writer wouldn't be so mad and in his feelings. I don't know. Anyway, that's going to do it for this show. Thank you guys for watching Hard Pass. I am the one they call Jacques Slade, and I'll see you next week. But not before I celebrate LeBron James and Anthony Davis signing long-term extensions with my 17-time World Championship Los Angeles Lakers with this song, of course. You thought you could escape the Lakers this week, didn't you? Not a chance. I'll see you next week as my team begins the road to 18. Peace.